think the scale of adjustment will be as large as the 07-08 crash. We were particularly vulnerable at that time, if you recall, because obviously we had a very substantial credit bubble had built up in our economy, and so therefore we were more sensitive than most, if you like, from an international perspective in terms of the scale of that crash and, you know, the nature of the crash, the whole interlinkages between the government and the banking sector essentially exacerbated the scale of the impact for us. So I don't think it will be as significant. However, I think a lot depends on the response that's taken in the short to medium term, and that's why I think we have to focus on stabilizing the economy, maintaining income support, and reigniting economic activity in the short to medium term. Certainly, I think the incoming government needs to be aware that at some stage there will be a need for some fiscal adjustment down the road. But I think the key point is that if you manage the stabilization phase well over the short to medium term, that will ultimately minimize the scale of adjustment that's required in the longer term. If, on the other hand, you start to make the adjustment or start to enforce the fiscal adjustments too soon, that will compound the shock, if you like, and compound the downturn in the overall economic activity, which ironically will mean you'll need a larger adjustment over the longer term. So I think that's the key balancing act that has got to be achieved. It's not easy, for sure, but I think ultimately, if you think of the basics here, the Irish economy was in very, very good health in February, you know, and has over the last 5 or 6 years been outperforming most economies across Western Europe in terms of the strength of its growth rates. So therefore, I think it's in a good position to recover from this shock when the initial medical aspect of the shock is over. But you know, central to the recovery will be the stabilization policies that the government takes and ensures that income levels are supported, that economic activity is ignited, if you like, over the coming 6 to 12 months. And if they do that and manage to do that in the correct fashion, then that will limit the scale of the adjustment that is required further down the road. But yes, to answer your question, certainly it needs to be, the incoming government needs to be aware of the need for an adjustment at some stage. But I think it's not something I would foresee any government doing, certainly in the next 12 months. I think we need to stabilize the economy and keep economic activity, you know, try and get economic activity back up and running for the next 6 to 12 months at the very least.